Hello and welcome. My name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you're sitting at the Couples Table.
The Couples Table is a live stream podcast here on this channel. Join us for better or worse.
For richer or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
Every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. He went with it. Hello.
Alrighty, I'm just checking our audio. I think it's there. I think it's good.
All right. The business.
Cool.
What's up? How goes it? Happy Friday.
TGIF once again.
TGIF.
TGIF.
How's the audio?
Wait.
I
was like, I heard my own voice coming from somewhere.
Hello, everybody. All right, let's check in. Beach Buggy Race Bro. Just discovered you guys today, and I'm in China right now, so I'm going to have to catch up in the morning. Love both your styles, your tips, and advice.
That's
great.
Awesome.
Gil's here, and early this time. Parker Jennings in the house. Call me Cubby. Happy Friday. Level up the mic. I would say, hey, Mike, trust your gut. Pursue your dream. Don't quit, and don't listen to the naysayers. Love that. K-Walk Comedy. Hi, guys. Love the book review vid. I'm inspired to read from the list. Yay. Freddie always is in the house.
As always.
Happy right before the full moon Friday. Was it full moon tonight?
I don't know. My last look at the moon was in Animal Crossing, and I was like, oh, it's not quite full.
And thank you. The audio sounds great.
Cool.
And Richard's also in the house.
He's in the house.
Well, it's good to see all of you. I had to run and grab a Starbucks.
Hashtag not sponsored. So, today we have a topic. Advice for our younger selves.
Yeah.
Why? What is this?
You know, I really enjoyed our discussion from last week. And I was thinking, like, I think at every age, you can ask somebody this question and they would have something to say. So it doesn't have anything to do with young or old. It's more of like, you can reflect on what you did yesterday, on what you did a year ago, 5 years ago, you know, and then now having the, you know, the advantage of hindsight and experience and perspective and wisdom even, maybe you can like share how you would do things differently.
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know, I think it's helpful. I'm curious what people have to say.
Yeah. It's a fun topic because, like, you know, we can talk about it and share stories and thoughts and things, but it's also a fun one for everyone to pitch in with.
Yes. I also like your sweater today.
Yeah. That's right.
You did that. That's cute. I like that. Reagan, hello. I am here. Well, actually, I'm in New Zealand, but I'm here online. You know what I mean? 9 a.m.
Morning. It's early.
It's 9 a.m. there right now? Yes.
I don't think he's lying.
Well, because we have the cams going every morning, and there's a New Zealand cam.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that makes sense because when we wake up, it's like 3 a.m. there.
Yeah, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Hey, Homesick Mac. Happy Friday.
Hello.
All right, so 2 things before we get started. First is I pinned a comment if you want to sign up for our mailing list so we can email you. We're trying for 24 hours. Yesterday was kind of late because I put out my video and I didn't want to schedule the live stream. Yeah, anyway, if you want a heads up via email of when we go live for the Couples Table, you can sign up for our mailing list.
It's literally once before, like 24 hours before the show goes out, you get a message that says, hey, don't miss the show. Here's the link. That's all it is. Not a crazy spammy email list or anything.
Yeah. And then the second thing is, what is the word for the replay, folks?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely didn't forget to think of one. How about... Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. Kohi or ocha. Do you like coffee or tea? You can just answer the question.
In the replay?
Yeah. Or live, whatever.
Or just use the words coffee or tea.
Yeah.
Spill the tea. Speaking of spilling tea.
You have tea?
No, I say we should spill the tea on the advice we would give our younger selves.
Oh, okay. All right, let's kick it off.
All right. I was really wondering how that was going to work there.
Well, let's start with Mike.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, we're putting you on the spot here. Hey, Mike, trust your gut. Pursue your dream. Don't quit, and don't listen to the naysayers. And my response to this is, I feel like, you know, throughout our lives, we get a lot of advice that is like this I have a different context of these things than I did when I was like 18. You know, like, because I swear I heard the same advice on the orientation, like college orientation. You know, it's like, oh, it's your first day of college. It's going to be so awesome. And all of these things. And it's like, yeah. But it hits different now.
Yeah.
You know, like the trust your gut one. Oh, man. It's hard, though, because it's like, how do you do that?
Yeah,
when you're still figuring it out, you know?
Yeah. And it's very hard when I think naturally, like, your younger self. So you think back to, like, childhood, high school, early 20s kind of time. And it doesn't have to be that, but I think that's just a natural time to, like, go. Like, it was a very formative time. So I think it's where people instinctively, it's where you would want to give advice to. But, yeah.
Yeah, and like, don't listen to the naysayers. That's so hard because the freaking naysayers are the loudest.
Nayer's gonna say
closest. Yeah, mom and dad. They were the naysayers.
Oh.
I recently rewatched a vlog of mine. It popped up, and it was like had gotten into. My mom called and we got into an argument about me doing YouTube, and my parents were super against me doing YouTube. For a very, very, very
They're
long
very
time.
happy now. They're literally on their way to visit us at this moment.
Yeah,
which is why you said that. I was like, are they here already?
But yeah, they were not. It was like they were vehemently
against it.
Like, so against it. And it echoed my own self-doubt. And also at the time, I didn't know anyone who was doing YouTube, and everyone else was doing the path. Like, all my best friends in life were doing the path and kicking butt at it, and I was like, I'm just gonna figure this out. So it's really hard to, like, looking back, yes, I'm so glad you did the thing. Like, I'm so glad I don't even know how I did it, but I didn't give up. I just kept going because, like, here we are now. But good Lord, did it feel wrong in every way.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was just so hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Audio sounds fantastic on the Bose Ultrabuds.
Nice.
Felipe. Oh,
on the small thing on there, I thought it was dollar bills.
Oh, money. I was gonna say, I don't know what flag that is. Marcus is here.
Hey.
Matcha. Prasad, hey, I would tell baby me, do not trade that first edition hollow Charizard. Yeah. Oof. Who'd you trade it to?
Financially independent at this point.
I would say don't take life too serious.
It's probably good advice all around.
Audio hotline. I would tell my 6th grade self, stop playing sports. Yo, pick up the guitar sooner instead.
I like this one because one of the things I would tell my younger self is sort of the opposite of this, which is actually why I wore this sweater today. Because I have spent this year getting into sports.
The whole sports thing has been a topic for Tom and I this year.
Yeah.
Well, we just were never into it before. And
yeah. I mean, and hockey's a sport I like, but, you know, like that. There are other sports out there, obviously. And it's not that I would tell myself, like, yo, you could be a pro athlete. No. It's almost the other thing I was going to tell myself was, like, you are not special in the context of when it came to something like sports or basically anything physical, it wasn't my instinct or my, like, impulse to gravitate towards those things. And, you know, it feels very uncomfortable. You want to talk about stuff that feels unnatural and uncomfortable and weird, like nothing. Like it all requires you to build up these skills and do things that don't feel right because it's not something you would normally do in any other context in life as a human. And so because of that, and then not having like a natural ability where I was suddenly amazing at everything right away, it was like, oh, maybe I'm not good at this. And then all the adults in my life, parents, teachers, everybody was just like, yeah, you're not a sports guy. Like, don't do sports. And specifically, like, you can't do sports. You're too clumsy. You're too this. Like, you're, you know, like, literally, like, your body won't build muscle in this way. And, like, when I say you're not special, that's what I mean is, like, you're not, you don't have anything crazy going on where it's, like, laws of physics don't apply to you.
Yeah, you are not uniquely equipped, like, either way to fail or, you know, to
exactly.
Like, succeed.
It's like if you go and if you work towards something, you'll get better at it. If you put effort into something physical, you will get more physically fit. It's the same, playing the guitar. Like, you're going to pick it up. You're not going to be able to play a song the first time. So you practice, and then you get better. And suddenly you can play a song while thinking about other things, having a conversation, singing the song. Like, it all just takes practice. And that was such a mental block for so long. And then I just blocked out sports and athletics as a thing I wasn't interested in. And then I had the problem I had was I went too far in the other direction of the like, well, I'm a nerd and I don't want like sports and jocks, and where it's like, I don't understand it. So the fact that I don't understand it, I'm a little insecure about it. Now I'm going to kind of judge it negatively was sort of the direction I went for a very long time. And then it was like, it's been really fun to sort of have that snap in the other direction, and like it clicks and you get it. And even as a 37-year-old, because age doesn't matter, you can pick up something new and learn it and improve. And obviously
I can't imagine what like 18-year-old Tom, his reaction if 37-year-old Tom was like, hey, guess what, you're gonna get into sports. His face would have been like, no.
No, you mean arts? The arts?
That's funny. Let's see.
There is no caption.
There is no caption. Don't be your own naysayer. That's so hard, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, a thing you and I have talked about is like, treat yourself like, there's the advice of like, treat others how you would want to be treated, but it's like literally treat yourself how you treat others. Like, when a friend or a family member comes to you with like an issue or a problem, you're probably not going to be like, what are you, an idiot? Like, you're so bad at everything. Why would you even like, you're going to be very understanding. You're going to be very supportive, very encouraging.
The inner voice is mean.
Yeah. But when it's yourself, then you tend to just like be so harsh.
Exaggerated.
Yeah.
Okay. Audio Hotline says, I would tell my sister, stop playing sports because you get too many concussions. Pick up the guitar sooner instead.
Yeah. I've already had one of those.
Yeah. He got concussed.
Not fun.
How far back to younger self, teens or later? This is an interesting question.
That's you. This morning. Like, whatever,
But I'm wondering now, is it different? I guess it would be, right? Like, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I was kind of thinking about this.
I don't self, your 38.
It's like different for me, at least. It's different flavors of the same type of advice. And a big part of it really is like, be yourself. Like, don't try to imitate. There's that fine line between like having a role model, being inspired by something, and imitating something.
See, here's a very practical one.
Family and friends don't get you.
Put it on a freaking t-shirt. Like, my friends, see, that's why friends are friends, right? Because they don't have to get it, and they still support you because they support you.
Yeah, I don't get some of their jobs either. Like, I don't know how that works. So
yeah, exactly. But like, it's funny. It's funny because my brother, who's on the way, is about to cross 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he was the biggest naysayer of all. So it's just fun. It's just funny. Like, I wish I can tell past Heather. No, past Heather. Like, the irony. Okay,
right.
Of how this plays out. I honestly don't remember what I traded it for, but I know it was a couple of cards.
Some pogs.
Gail says, in an old podcast episode, Tom said, you are an expert at what you know. I've written that down in all of my journals. It helps me so much. I like that.
Yeah, and that's your own experience, you're the expert at what you know, but that doesn't mean everything. And that's such a weird thing, too, where I've noticed, especially the past several years, where things are like weirdly, political and divided and stuff. It's like, hey, you're a tech YouTuber with a medium audience. What's your opinion on this political thing? And it's like, that is not my area of expertise. I don't have, like, it's almost as if it's expected if you're an expert in one thing that then you should have opinions and expertise in all things, instead of going like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I was even telling you this morning, someone was asking me how to do something this morning, and I was trying to explain to them until I realized I actually don't. I know how to do the thing, but and it's very frustrating as a teacher. I don't know how to explain to do the thing, and I just had to say, I don't know. This is just what I just do what I do, and it happens, and I don't know. I can't tell you how to do it. And sometimes saying I don't know is very empowering.
I like this. Homesick Mac, don't trade that guitar for the car repair.
I learned very early on, don't trade or sell instruments. Just don't. Even when you think, which is a good way to prevent myself from getting more, because it's like, I'll never be getting rid of this, so what do I do? But yeah, don't.
Akil says you're not an anime character with some special untapped ability.
Well, I mean, you could potentially have untapped abilities, but you have to tap into them.
Right.
But if it's like the kind of like we were talking about last week, you're just sort of waiting like, oh, once I hit this point in my life or this age, everything is just going to snap into place and snap into like.
Oh, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say?
Oh, sorry. I was reading Max.
Oh.
Next one. I cut you off. Sorry.
It's okay.
To my 16-year-old self, dad is not the problem. Yeah. Oh. It's so hard though as a teenager though, because it's just like I don't think anything I could say now would change how I acted, because it's so much of like the world I lived in was built by mom and dad, so it's like it is what it is. I can't really like apply myself. I mean I could have. I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to, ask for help or try new things or.
Your brain's also swimming in, like having worked with teenagers and having been one. I remember as a kid, like I would get frustrated with myself when I acted like a teenager and I was like snotty and all that stuff. Like I didn't like that. And I know like my students, I can see them getting frustrated with themselves, and I would try so hard to go like, okay, I'm not going to get like annoyed with my parents or something. I'm not going to get frustrated. And then it's like literally just walking into the room, a switch flips, and it's like
hormones, yo.
Nothing has even happened yet, but I am in a teen mood. And I really think it's because your brain is just boiling in hormones that just it doesn't understand.
Don't at me, Tom. Pretty sure I know which storage bin my slammer is in.
Honestly, if I had my Pogs, I would like make some sort of, I don't know, shadow box display.
I know, I think it'd be so cool.
So many were like holographic and reflective and stuff.
I didn't even have that many. Hey, Pete.
Hey.
Good to see you. The past 3 years, I've been a master at saying, I don't know. I love that.
And sometimes, I don't know, let's find out. That's a good, like, if you're in a position where you should know and you don't, that's a good follow-up. But if you're not expected to know, just, I don't know.
So here's something I would say. Like, it's not a regret, because I really want to not have any regrets, because obviously I'm happy with where I am now and everything brought me here. But this is something I think about a lot, and it's when I worked, like all throughout my working career, working for other people. I was really happy with all my jobs, but I think every workplace has their situation, and there are things that are annoying, especially for someone who's entrepreneurial minded. But the one thing I would tell myself, like let's say early 20s, okay, before I like got the real job, is people be weird.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they're bad. That doesn't mean they're like bad people, but 1,000%, not everyone sees the world the way you do. Not everyone is motivated by the same things you are. Not everyone wants to do it as fast as you want to, like try to get things done. People are totally okay with keeping it slow and just like doing the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was one of the most frustrating things to learn, because I couldn't understand, like I am a person who's like efficiency, like how can we do this the most effective way possible to get to the finish line faster or do it bigger and better, and like and there's just people who are just like, oh, 3:59, time to go, I'm out, with no like, I get it, I'm not trying to make everyone stay after, but like if everyone stayed after for 5 minutes, like we would have collectively like a couple hours. I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, that's having built up like specialized programs at schools where it's like, okay, if we do this funding and we do this with the scheduling, and then you realize like, oh, the counseling and scheduling department is like, we have this many students divided by this many counselors, this many classes, the numbers here, and it's like, no, let's take a little time and like really look, this kid could have this whole path for the next 4 years, and this kid, and it's like, no, it's just, I'm gonna push the button that just puts people just don't. Yeah, and it's like, it's not a bad thing, it's just like something I needed to learn the hard way,
right?
Yeah, it reminds me of it. So here's like another example. I don't know what the the advice is here. But like this situation, I think about this all the time. You always say, oh, I think about that at least once a day. I would say once a day, but I think about it often.
What is it?
There was one time I had a job, and I've told you this. I was a coordinator of volunteer programs for youth. Okay, so like middle school and high school kids. And so I would work with all the local nonprofits to coordinate volunteering opportunities for them, and then like also promote the work that they were doing to the greater community to obviously like lead to fundraising opportunities, grow our program, get new kids into the program, like be able to connect with more exciting opportunities for the kids, blah, blah, blah. It was a constant work in progress. One of the things I did was start a newsletter, because this was, I don't even know what year it was. I don't remember how old I was. 2009 or 10 maybe.
So like 25-ish.
Yeah. Okay, so I started a newsletter. Everyone has a newsletter now, like obviously start a newsletter. Back then it was like, whoa, a newsletter, right? Back then it was like, you're going to have a newsletter and it's going to be the most comprehensive, like put everything in it, because we didn't know how to do them back then. Right. Whatever. I was like, we should have one because it just makes sense. Well, one of the people on the board was also the editor of the biggest newspaper in the region. And she would proofread my newsletters and completely tear them apart in terms of the writing and like how things were phrased and like grammar and stuff like that. I consider myself a pretty good writer. Mm-hmm. I also know who I'm writing to. It's teenagers. It's people who are going to like, who are interested in youth, you know, and what we're trying to do. I understand as a marketer the tone and stuff like that. Well, one day I got pulled into the office with my boss, the president of the company, the chair of the board, and got reprimanded for not like incorporating the changes, because basically the reason why I didn't incorporate the changes was because she was trying to make my casual talk formalized, like a newspaper. And I was like, it's not a newspaper, it's a newsletter. The students don't speak like this. Like, there has to be contractions.
Yeah.
There has to be contractions. And what I would tell myself now is, because I felt so crappy. I felt so crappy, like I was doing something wrong. But there was always this part of me that was like, you're doing it right. Okay, like, I was reading the replies I was getting to those emails. And it's funny, fast forward 13 years later, there's, you know, grammar incorrections and spelling errors all over social media. That doesn't mean that the content doesn't land. You know, my biggest, most popular video on my tutorial channel has a huge typo in the word subscribe. There's no second S. Someone contacted me and was like, there's a typo in your thumbnail. And I was like, that's funny, because it's been up for years. I didn't change it because it obviously hasn't, like, it doesn't make me look incompetent. It doesn't take away from the value that that the content provides. I think we've gotten to a point where it's like, casual talk doesn't mean that you're dumb, you know, or that you're not taking it seriously or whatever. Back then, it's like, I don't know, I just felt like I was doing something wrong.
Well, it's also like that old school thing of, you know, like, that person works at a traditional legacy print media newspaper. They know how to do that. That's what they are going to do everywhere.
And I think like maybe you have experienced this too, where it's like the merging of like, you know, like like digital stuff is completely different from traditional. And I think like, because we grew up with the internet, we were the first ones to be like, no, casual tone for internet, you know, and it's gonna clash.
I would definitely, something I learned, it was something I learned fortunately fairly early on in my teaching career, but something I would love to learn earlier is the beg for forgiveness, not permission.
That one.
That is a thing. I definitely wish I would have learned that earlier, especially with this kind of stuff, because when you're trying to bring something new to a place where things are sort of set in how it's always been done.
Especially education.
Yeah, you're never going to get those wheels turning. People are going to be terrified of everything versus like you just do it and let people see it. And I don't think really once it ever kind of caused a problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure it rubbed people the wrong way sometimes or whatever, but it's like, you know, and that means also like I know as a, you know, an intelligent person who's good at what I do. I'm not breaking rules. I'm not putting anyone in,
Right.
like
all those bases are covered.
I know what I'm doing is okay, and other people just might not understand it, so they need to see it to understand it. Because if I just try to tell them or try to, explain it, it'll never happen. Nobody will understand it. But if they just see it, then they will get it. And that.
Yeah, see, that was like my parents. Like, I can try to explain to you my vision for this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah, but they just need to wait like 5 years.
But you have no idea what it is. Like, you don't know. And everything I say, like, as the kid, you're never going to trust me. Like, ever.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Chris, in progress. When I was a corporate trainer, we used to say
IDKLFOT.
I don't know. Let's find out together.
Yeah.
I like that. Gil says, being married for 11 years has taught me that people are so different. I like efficiency no matter how complicated, whereas my wife loves simplicity.
Yeah.
Pete says, how do the two of you balance out the YouTuber creative process with both of you participating? Does the need for income get in the way of enjoying it at times? That's a great question.
It is. I don't think, because the two of us, like, we do this together, and that's collaborative. We work on some client stuff together, which we've learned how to collaborate on. But we also have our own outlets, which we've also learned how to ask for help, input, feedback on. But I feel like there's enough, like if I just want to do Tom's idea, Tom's way, I have that outlet. And then when we do our thing, I have that outlet too. So I feel like it doesn't.
So like my instinctual reaction to this is like it's not a conscious thing.
I guess that's, I'm trying to break down an unconscious thing.
Yeah, like it is balanced, but I don't know how we do it. Like,
yeah,
I just work on my stuff. He works on his stuff. I know when he's working on his stuff. He knows when I'm working on
my
stuff.
We've spent basically 24 hours a day together for 6.5 or 6 years at this point. So there's kind of an unspoken language that just.
I think the need for income getting in the way of the YouTuber creative process is like a separate. That has nothing to do with the two of us. That's just like the frustration of being a full-time content creator and everything that comes with. I mean, we could definitely do a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
Marcus says, when you ask, you give them the opportunity to say no.
Right.
Yes. That's like if you don't ask for something that you want, you're already at no. So
yeah, you're just going to end
ask, because even if they say no, that's where you already are. But you at least open the opportunity for a yes. Yeah. It's like the opposite. Roger, hi, good to see you. Late to the table, but you're here. Reagan, question, really hard. I thought about it and gave up, and I think younger me probably wouldn't listen to me. I love that.
Well, so going off of that, one of the things I would tell my younger self, because I was somebody who, like, I don't know if I would listen to myself or parents or whatever, but I would search out people to listen to, like, people I admired. I would want to listen to them. And I would search, obviously there's the internet. There's tons of opinions on the internet. And I would like to tell myself that just because somebody says or writes something does not make it true, does not make it like the fact that you have to follow. And
it's so hard though.
it is very hard. That's, I really feel like, especially kind of growing up with the internet, I really did, I don't know if you feel this way too, have to learn that just because something is in text and typed out does not make it any more true than like something somebody says. Like, it doesn't necessarily give it any more weight, but for some reason when you see something, you see an article someone wrote, you see a message board post someone posted, I don't know, because it's text written, especially if you think, 20 years ago, it feels like, oh, that they're speaking truth. Even if it's, I'm reading a guitar message board and somebody's like, oh, you should only ever use overdrive built into the amp and never throw an effects pedal. And it's like, oh, shoot. And then I would think I should never use an effects. Well, that's not true at all. That's what that person prefers to do with their equipment for their style and their needs. It's not at all a fact, a law of nature, and it took me a long time, still takes me a long time to really like separate out.
I think that's like, I think every content creator has to go through that. It's like getting your first negative comment,
right?
You know, because it's like you do have to understand that nuance of the internet. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Like you're not, because if you if you think those things are fact, it's gonna be, how are you gonna deal with the noise, you know? And if your audience grows, it's just gonna be
more and more and more of it.
More and more, yeah. And especially in a world where everyone has tips and advice to share. There's not really one way to do YouTube successfully. You can do it all kinds of ways, you know, like
right.
Someone will tell you, here are the 10 things to do to have a successful YouTube channel. I don't know, you felt this way. You're not doing any of these 10 things, and it makes you feel like you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. And then a thing I try to do is then it's like, okay, let me look at the people I admire, what they're doing. They're usually not the people who are telling me the 10 tips. They're just kind of doing their thing. So they don't, unless I happen to hear them on a podcast episode or whatever, it's like you kind of have to just piece together your idea of how they're doing it, which is helpful too, but it maybe even more helpful because you're being really like,
you're like curating,
critically, you're full of critical thought in a good way of like, okay, how are they putting this together? What must their schedule be like to do this? How are they approaching, you know, their topics, their thumbnails, their whatever. And that is helpful, but it's just funny that like the people I would want to learn from the most often are the ones who they're just doing the thing they do and they're not the ones telling me how to do it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I've also learned, especially, oh my gosh, in the age of social media, I don't know if this is something I tell my younger self. It's just something I have learned. So I'll tell myself yesterday. There's so much just noise and mess and awful things. But in the world where like you can go to Twitter or you can go to some whatever site and the feed is full of tips and tricks and whatever, I have been able, a broken clock is right twice a day. Like I've been able to pull out nuggets and very useful things from people I otherwise really disagree with, or even people who bother me like crazy and I would prefer not to ever see anything from them. Every once in a while, it's like, let me see what they're saying. You know what? This is actually a really cool idea. Or this is a cool concept or a cool way to look at something.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're not discounting everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could still take it in, but it's like you can filter it.
You have to really develop quite a filter.
Yeah. Yeah. Younger me was really rebellious in a nice way. Pete says I would have told my younger self to try more and be willing to fail frequently.
100%.
This is what I would have.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could have like done a challenge, you know, try something new once a month.
Maybe that's like what I mean when I was talking about the sports thing was like, try it. Maybe you won't like it.
But give it enough of a shot.
Give it a genuine try. And then if you don't like it, that's okay. Go try something else, you know? And there was stuff like, you know, I tried guitar, really like that, and tried
and
graphic
set yourself
design,
up
really
for
like
success. Because like I tried to learn volleyball. You know what I did?
You like go to a game right away?
No, I went to the volleyball tryouts.
Oh.
That was me for the team.
Yeah.
For people who know how to play.
Right.
And I left halfway through the tryout because I couldn't even like.
Yeah, it must have felt terrible.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I can't do sports because sports people know what to do. Look at this person. They know what to do. Yeah. I don't know what to do. I don't do sports.
I was just reading a thing this morning on the bass subreddit for like bass players. And somebody was posting a thing where like we had our worst show ever last night. Like, they were really excited. Like they were headlining like this small club. The owner was actually really excited. It was like a Halloween show. And then like the guy was like, yeah, the sound guy kind of set things up. Then he just sort of left, and so our sound was really bad. We couldn't hear each other. The crowd, like nobody was moving. Eventually, like everybody just left, and in the middle of our set, the place was empty, and the owner just like turned everything off and said like, pack up. I just want to go home. And like. The guy was like, I just want to sell all my equipment. I don't want to play anymore. And so a bunch of people were like, that sucks. Everybody has a bad gig story. Like, play the next one. Next one could be your best thing ever. And, you know, that was helpful. But then someone jumped in and was like, I don't know that I'm on board with everybody just going like, play the next gig. Like, and they literally said, set yourself up for success. Why don't you guys go back, get together, and figure out what went wrong? Yeah. Maybe it was a sound guy, but like, shouldn't you guys be tight enough at a group as a group where you something like that isn't going to throw you off back, because those things are going to happen all the time. Like, can you diagnose what it is? Can you practice a lot more? And then when you're ready, jump into another gig. So that way you don't have a second failure in a row and you will stop. And I was like, that's exactly what you said. Set yourself up for success. Like, because they could just play another gig next weekend and it's also terrible. But if they spend time, you know, if they spend time practicing, then they could solve a lot of problems, figure things out, and then have a really good show.
Yeah.
And then this becomes a funny story and not the end
Right.
of a career.
Right. Let's see. Gil says, I doubted everything as a kid and would let everyone know, burning a lot of energy.
You don't need to let everyone know all of your opinions about everything.
I know.
But it's so hard when especially when you're a kid.
Like,
because that's what I was.
So hard.
I think, for us in our age, well, I guess it was late. That was more college. Like MySpace was sort of the epitome of this. But I remember as a kid, and I say this wearing labeled things right now, but you
everything
express
was a statement.
You haven't done anything yet. Usually like you have preferences and you have interests, but you haven't done anything. Like, you don't have your identity really yet. And so you create your identity with things that other people have made.
Of course,
and it's, styles and slogans and it's everything. Like, that's why, if you go look at like teen clothing at the store, it has so much like words and so much text and so much brand, and then as you get older you're like, I just want the plain t-shirt.
Yeah,
like,
dude, I don't
or like a specific pattern that I like, or I'm very consciously
like this
something
like,
means
I know
something
what
to
this
me.
is.
And that's just a hard thing, because it's like, I don't know how to that's why I feel like being, like, speaking of our age conversation, I feel like being around 21, 22 was like the most frustrating time for me, 19 to 22 maybe, because it's like, you're clearly not a kid. So you're in the adult world, you're working, you're going to school, but you have done nothing. And like, you're just like, you don't fit in like the adult world either, because you're just being told that you're young and inexperienced, you can't do anything. And they're right, but you're also not a kid, so you have responsibilities. And it was just like, I'm in no man's land and this sucks. And
I was it 19 to 21. I don't even know what I was in college.
I mean, so was I, but that's how it feels.
Our college was very different.
Our college experiences are quite different.
So different. It could not be any more different from each other, which, like, well, I mean, that's why you're you and I'm me. But I definitely think I wish we had hung out. Let's put it that way.
That would have been great, yeah. For both of us.
Marcus, knowing best practices gives you a better understanding how to intentionally do it differently.
Yes.
I love that.
Learning the rules so you can break them.
Yeah.
Not just like, I'm going to do it my way from the beginning. It's like, yeah, but some rules are like written in blood. Like, you should really.
So, yeah. Because, I mean, the thing is, it really is helpful to know how someone has tried, so you can build off of what they've already failed at, and you don't have to learn, like, reinvent the wheel, you know? And plus things change all the time, so
it's hard though, because I remember, again, like, working with teenagers, I want to impart with them all my wisdom of like, like, do this, don't do this, like, I promise you it's going to save you so much heartbreak, so much frustration. And I remember learning that there are times when it's like, you kind of have to let someone walk off the cliff because they need to figure it out for themselves.
It's the best way to learn.
Like,
you'll never.
You want to stop it. You want to save them.
Like,
you want to stop it.
What did you say to me earlier? You're like, oh, you're only gonna make that mistake once.
Yeah.
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 Reagan, maybe I would say trust the process, but for it to have an impact, I would need to appear into my younger self's life at a very intense moment for dramatic effect. I love
special
this.
effects and fog.
Yeah, there's fog. There's a light behind you.
Yeah. I like that you appear and you have to plug in a fog machine, wait for it to like get going, and then.
I wonder if I would even recognize myself. I don't think I would. Honestly, I look really different.
I don't know. I'd be so curious.
I think my 18-year-old self would be so freaking confused.
Well, I mean, yeah. Who is this? Is this like my real mom? What is this?
No, I mean, not in that way, but like how things turned out.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, how'd you get from here to there?
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like my 18-year-old self would be very happy, not confused, but like, this kind of ties into our conversation from last week. I feel like it would be, you actually did the thing that I didn't think I could do because it was for other people. Oh,
that's so nice. In a good way. That's cute.
Especially because there was a good decade plus in the middle there where it was like, yeah, let's put all these dreams on the shelf. Let's forget about all this. It's like, that's not for you. That is for other people. And to like, and that's kind of, I think just, I don't know, even as an 18-year-old, I think I sort of felt like that's probably the thing you would do. Like, you're going to put things on the shelf when push comes to shove, and to then learn that like you didn't keep it that way.
I honestly think that my 18-year-old self would be a little bit disappointed because our dreams totally different. I am not doing the corporate thing. I didn't get married in a church. Like, I don't have kids. I'm vegetarian. What the heck is that?
Such a disappointment.
Like, it's so, it's so different. She'd be very confused. Like, what happened to you?
I don't know how that makes me feel, but great.
I don't hate you. It's not because of you.
I feel like I'm a participant in this.
Well, yeah, but like, silly Billy. You know what I tell myself too is like, I never considered myself a creative person.
Yeah, you really don't give yourself credit.
No, never.
Not until very recently.
My brother was so like.
Yeah, somebody else's victory doesn't diminish your victory. Like but I feel like that's hard.
But it was the same as sports thing. I was like, that is what art is. This is what creativity is. I do not have that, therefore I am not. Yeah,
it's like if you I don't know, we're practicing baseball and like I finally managed to hit the ball with the bat, even if it just didn't go anywhere, I would be like, oh my God, huge accomplishment. And then someone shows up and hits it like over the fence. I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm not good at this. When it's like, no, you were doing your thing your way and you're fine.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so here's advice I heard constantly. Surround yourself with like-minded people. I mean, I think we still hear that. But it's like, it was so hard because like no one was I couldn't find anybody who was doing the thing.
Preach. That's my whole life. Right? There are no like-minded people. Thank God for the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just talking to someone the other day who was like, yeah, my like they live in a small town and things are like rough. And it's like, yeah, thank God for the internet that this is the people that you just happen to physically surround yourself with.
Not that they're bad or anything.
No, of course it can be great, but it's not necessarily ideal. I know I can't remember if people love him or hate him now, but I know there's an old Louis C.K. thing about teaching where he's like trying to explain the concept of teaching. Like, you're going to get all these kids together and they're going to be going crazy and they're hypersocial and their hormones are raging and they hate everything, and you're going to make them sit for hours a day and you're going to teach them math. And someone's like, why would we do this? And who are these kids? He's like, they're the kids that just live next to the building. Like, that's like the group that it's just, yeah, this building was built, whoever's around it, this is now the formative group for your life if you don't happen to move away. And that could work out, like the people that you find yourself physically around, like, there's all kinds of reasons that you could be on the same page, the same wavelength, but oftentimes it also doesn't. And it can be very hard if it tips too far in that direction. Like, I think sort of I feel like maybe because your family, especially your parents, coming from a different country and building a life specifically and intentionally, I feel like,
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's so hard. That's why it's like,
I mean, that brings its own things, but I feel like it maybe because of that, they intentionally put their family in a situation where there were, at least to them, maybe other like-minded people around. Versus,
for their
expectations, right? Yeah. Not yours.
Which is why I felt like I was doing it wrong, because I was
because that was the opposite of the point I was making.
Priorities change over time. Yes. Same, Heather. I was on track to be a pastor. 18-year-old me was 100% different.
It's funny because I feel like different, but also exactly the same. I wonder if, I don't know if it would be like if we just snapped and suddenly 18-year-old me was here and like not just having like an aneurysm from what is all of this stuff, but like if you'd be like, yeah, that's definitely you, like, 19 years ago. I feel like it'd be pretty similar.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Sure.
What's one piece of advice this is for everybody, okay? What's one piece of advice you would give to yourself on day one of starting your YouTube channel? I gotta think about this.
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me is
You're about to cross 17 million, by the way. Do you guys
views, not subscribers.
Yeah, well, that's huge though. Like, this doesn't mean like it's any less.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So a channel that I watch and follow today posted a thing thanking everyone for 1 billion views. So naturally, it's like, oh my god. I was telling you the other day, I was like, I can't believe how many people have seen inside this room. Like, isn't that crazy? Like
17 million. Well, yeah. Like,
that's an incomprehensible
10 million,
number.
10 unique people, 10 million unique people have seen.
And then you see, oh, 1 billion. Oh, okay.
No.
I know, but that's the,
No.
That's the, I'm not a creative person because my brother's the creative person, but it's like, no, it doesn't have any effect on your creative ability. But I would tell myself, the thing that at least popped to mind first, I don't know if this is the best advice, it's the thing that popped up, was don't even try or pretend that you have it all figured out from the beginning. Because I feel like when I started my channel, I wanted to give it structure and have it make sense, and that's why I had like a whole like manifesto about how it's not a money-making endeavor, it's not a this, it's not a that, like,
I know, Tom,
and it's
Tom
like you don't even know what it is, like, why are you you're telling it what it's not. I think, I posted like 1 or 2 videos, and then I was like, oh, there needs to be a channel trailer about like what this is, and it's like, dude, you don't know what this channel is.
Well, that and like no one cares.
Yeah, no
one cares about it the same way you do.
Yeah, no one cares. Nobody's watching.
Most of your subscribers aren't gonna find you for another 3 years.
Yeah, at the point you have what, 4 subscribers, like nobody cares, and so like, yeah, you like, it's the most basic advice in the world, but you're just starting out on your YouTube channel. Make videos, see what you like, see what you don't like, and just go from there. And
that's what I wish I could tell myself. Is like, because I started and I focused on the fun. Yeah. Then I dove real deep into the optimization of it. The best practices, the SEO, the thumbnails, all this stuff that has nothing to do with the video. And then I would go back to old videos and try to like bump them back up. It's so stupid. It's like, just go make the other one, just go make the next video.
Yeah. That's usually the best thing.
Yeah.
Super chat from Jimmy HTV.
Jimmy HTV, thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's really nice. I can pay for my coffee here.
Yay.
Just create, Gil. Just put it out there.
Just create. You mean just create Gil, or like just create?
James says, my younger self would tell present day self that I got to do the career I wanted to do. Just went the long way around to get there. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's okay. Like, and that's.
But the thing, it's like, okay. I didn't know that this was a career. I would say that same thing. I would just replace it with like happy. Right. Like, it took you a while to figure out what makes you happy, but you're there.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be there. The fact that it takes a while is totally fine.
Yeah. Pete, just create what you enjoy and let the audience guide you. I love that. I mean, I was just telling Tom this earlier because so I started uploading like 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, you made a lot of videos.
I know. I love them all. I love looking at my videos page and looking at all these little things I've created. Yeah, it's really fun. However, every single time I upload, I lose subscribers. Every single time. It's just a giant negative number near subscribers. And it's just like, the negative slope just continues to peak even more. And it's really, I know we've had this conversation. We've had many conversations about like, just focus on the videos, It's really hard though to see like red tanking graph and not feel like I'm doing something wrong. And especially with this last video I uploaded about the books I read, I knew it wasn't going to be like, this isn't for everybody, but I loved the comments that were left on there, and I had so much fun making the video. It's the worst video in terms of performance wise in this last batch, but it was so much fun.
It's a good video too. Like, it's so enjoyable to watch, but that's, yeah.
But it's like, my point is like, the advice I would tell my younger self is still something I'm telling myself today.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I still like, just focus on the fun. Like, it's like you said, like, just create what you enjoy and let the audience guide you. Yeah. Like, it's, I think that's something that, like, I've always felt is, like, there's so many feedback points and data points. Like, this is how it's supposed to be done. Like, these things with everything, like, society thinks, parents, whatever, like, there's all these different ways that you can kind of gauge whether you're doing something right or wrong. But at the end of the day, it's like, how do you listen to what your gut is saying? How do you actually listen to trust your gut when it means going against all of those data points to continue
there's this
to do something that you don't end up regretting?
Well, there's a very romantic notion of, like, I'm gonna do things my way, I'm gonna do things the way no one else does, and, like, it sounds great, and it is great, but it's
so freaking hard.
But
like,
are you kidding the part me? You forget oftentimes is, like, oh, if you're doing a thing that other people aren't doing, you're gonna be kind of alone over here.
Yeah, you're the only one doing it.
Yeah, and until other people, like, see you over there and start going over there too, it's gonna be kind of lonely, and that's that's a tough. It's almost like speaking of this, I don't know why I thought of this, but when we talk about, like, the world of YouTube advice, I think a lot of the beginner starter advice is very similar. You were even telling me yesterday, you were like, you had seen some, like, videos pop up and you're like, how are we still talking about this? Like, it's like we've gone over this, It's like when a minimalist writes 5 books about minimalism, like, yo, like, really? It's sort of like, yeah, we covered it, we're done. But a thing is, it's like all that beginner, like, starting out advice is one thing, and it'll say, like, make your first 100 videos, do this, get to 10,000 subscribers, like, whatever it might be. But then there's sort of this, like, desert of no information once you hit, like, past the beginning thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, just do this. But it's like, oh, once you get to the point where it's like the beginner advice doesn't apply to you, but you're also not at the point where you're, like, hiring a team and, like, building a studio. You're like, it's just there's nothing for me out here.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do?
Yeah. Audio Hotline. First day of YouTube. This isn't a competition. Other creators in the same niche are potential friends, not enemies. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Someone else doesn't have to lose for you to win. Like, it really don't.
That's it. That is it.
Rising tide lifts all ships.
Keep going, Tom. Come on. Keep going.
It's like, what was the last fortune cookie I read?
I'm serious, though.
No, it's very true. And it's hard not to, it's hard not to play the comparison game and those things, but comparison is the thief of joy. Sorry, that is insane. This is a message that came through. Comparison is the thief of joy, and I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
But it's just so inaccurate. Like, when you see someone else, a thing I see, which happens a lot when channels I follow cross 100,000 subscribers, and it took them it took me 5 years or something to get there, and some people 6, 7, 9 years. Other people get there in a year or 6 months or something. And I see a lot of people who sort of took longer to get there. They're sort of like thank you videos or thank you posts about it, or they talk about seeing people start after them and get further faster, and how that, and I feel like that's hard not to naturally do that. Oh, this person who started after me and didn't even know what they're way above and beyond me, and I'm still over here. I must be a failure. But it's two entirely separate journey situations. It's not even. Well,
yeah, someone else has nothing to do with you.
Right. It's not comparable.
The books are separate. You're on your own thing and they're on their own.
But it's so
thing.
Instinctive and natural to compare that it's
I think the reason why we do that is because there is no industry standard. It's
right.
A doctor has a freaking path, and everyone, whether you're in the health field or not, knows it. But for us, we got nothing. We do have to look at the data points. Okay,
yeah,
this person's been doing it this many times. Yeah, exactly. Hold on, I just got a notification that my space is almost full, so I have to empty out my trash can. There we go. Oh, this might be a while. I hope I didn't just like kill the stream.
I don't think you should have. You didn't delete the stream. Let's see here.
You could tell YouTube to not push the vlogs to your subscribers.
Oh, you like don't publish the feed. Well, the thing you had said a while ago, we've talked about this, was you were like, I wish there was a button I could press, and it's like if people haven't watched a video or engaged with anything,
this is going to be my number one request to YouTube is a purge button. Like, can I purge subscribers, remove subscribers based on like how I want to filter them out? If you haven't watched a video in the last 2 years, if you're a dead account that hasn't been on YouTube, like whatever it is. I wish I could just let you go.
The number will go down to whatever it is, which is what's happening now, but it's just this slow bleed instead of like, so you have 11,000 subscribers, you push the button, it goes down to 4 or something. It's like, oh, okay. Boom. Now I know where I'm at. That I have a baseline. And the thing is,
like, most of the people who watch my vlogs are subscribers. So, like, I wouldn't want to not push it to them.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just pointing out that like that thing is happening, but it's hard when it's like every time. But we also had that elevator analogy.
Oh, that was good. My therapist told me that. Yeah, she was like, elevation requires separation. So like you're on the elevator of YouTube life, right? And on day 1 you have all these subscribers that get on with you, and as you're going up, people just get off on different floors, and that's fine. And then on floor 20, new people get on, and then they get off on floor 30, and then new people get on, and like, but you're just going up. You're doing your thing. You're going to your floor, wherever you're going. And people can come and people can go. That has nothing to do with you, like you're just going.
Well, I thought that was a great one because it's like literally if you go into an elevator and you push floor 20 and people come in
and go
and get off on floor 14, you're not like, what's their freaking problem? Like, what did I do that makes them?
It's not like a statement or anything.
They just needed to go over there now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a thing. Pete says, I try not to let the sub count bother me. I often lose subs when I upload, can take a week off and gain them back and a few more without doing a thing. YouTube is a fickle beast. Yeah, we'll see. So here's the opposite problem. Here's kind of like what puts it into context for me. I'll even pull it up for you and give you some.
Just got receipts.
I got some official data so that I'm not just making up numbers. Okay. So on my tutorial channel, my other YouTube channel, youtube.com/Heather Ramirez, if you want to check it out. I haven't uploaded a video in, 7 months. Maybe longer. It's been a while. That has gotten 18,000 views in the past month with me being completely inactive. It's gained 88 subscribers with me being completely active, and that's just in the last month. So it's like there's a channel that I'm doing nothing with. No effort. 0 efforts being put in there, and it's growing. And like there isn't a minute that goes by where someone isn't watching a video on that channel. And then there's the vlog channel. Oh man, I think about that channel
morning till night.
Yeah, every second of the day. I'm putting my heart and soul into all these videos, and I'm having the time of my life. And it's so much fun. Bleeding out subscribers, which is fine. You're just getting off on the elevator. That's cool. But my point is, the data points that YouTube are giving me are all,
they're telling a different story.
They're telling a different story, than how I feel about it. And it's just, I know the context. I know why things are working that way. And that's cool. And that's fine. I don't know.
I like the elevator thing.
Marcus, you could tell YouTube to not... Oh, we talked about that. Jewel says, not everyone wants to do YouTube full time or be an influencer. It's nice to just share a moment perspective.
Right. That's like the thing where it's like, someone bakes cookies and it's like, these are so good, you should open up a shop. It's like, I just like baking cookies. I don't want to run a business about my cookies.
Yeah. I find it helpful to measure my videos this way. Would I enjoy watching this if it was from someone I don't know?
That's a good one.
I love that.
That's a great one.
Yeah. I always watch, to be absolutely honest, I watch each one of my videos like 4 or 5 times. I love them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm
that's
so
good.
proud of them. I laugh at all the parts that I thought were funny, like.
But then you go back to them too later and you're like, oh, you
know
what? That video was freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, don't buy cheap gear if you really need something better. If you really need something better, you'll spend more in the long run.
100% yes.
Yeah. Pete says, that's why I'll never be able to do YouTube full time. To Tom's commentary, I'm not single-minded in my regular life and don't have just one interest. I like variety, so my channel suffers.
Suffers if the goal was to like grow as fast as possible, make as much money as possible, but doesn't suffer as a creative outlet. That is,
Yeah.
It's again what the goal is.
Marcus, when I feel jealous of another creator, I try to think about what are they doing right? Is there something I could learn and adapt for myself? I like that.
Yeah. Mike's back and it's almost over.
Miha, evening.
Well, you know what, Mike and Miha, you could watch the replay, and in the comments of the replay,
you can tell us whether you like coffee or tea.
There we go. That's perfect. That was like the perfect segue. So it's top of the hour. I think it's time to clear the table.
It's time to clear the table.
That was a fun talk. I appreciate everybody sharing their perspectives and things. And you realize like everyone's having these thoughts and everyone's going back and analyzing things.
I like this, Reagan. Maybe the advice is be your biggest fan. That's what came to mind after Heather said she likes her vids. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Well, here's another thing.
Like what you make.
I show every single video to Tom, and he, you know, he's my husband, very supportive husband, but genuinely I can see the excitement of like, he laughs at all the things. He like feels the storytelling and like, you know,
I can
notices
see when you've tried
all the
something
edits.
new, when you've like, you know, I don't know.
And so like, I think like when I edit, I think, oh, Tom's gonna love this.
I like that.
You know? So in a way it's like, yeah, I'm a biggest fan, but I know you are too. And I'm like, I make it to impress you.
And you do a great job.
That's cute.
There you
like
go.
that.
Keep doing that, because then it's green arrows all the way, you know?
Yeah, they're never gonna be like.
I know. If there's one where I was like, oh.
I'm leaving the elevator on this floor. Gotta get some sleep before the morning workout.
All
Bye.
right.
Absolutely gonna watch the replay. Love spending my Friday with you guys.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. We're glad everybody's here.
Love your new time slot. The old one clashed with my own stream. Oh, really? That's funny. Well,
nice.
Is perfect.
Great.
It took a long time, but I'm finally the second biggest fan of my work. My wife got me beat. Oh, that's so cute. I love
It's a good thing to lose out to.
All right. So, again, if you want to sign up for our mailing list to get an email notification when we go live, the link is pinned in the chat. And also, if you have any suggestions for topics that we can talk about in the couples table, we'd love to hear them. So let us know. Sure. Just, I don't know, contact us on the socials or the email or whatever. And with that said,
thanks for watching. Hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your week. And we will see you next time.
Bye.